What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be spectating random players in Fortnite Zero Build. As always, if you guys do find this video helpful, informative, interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like some more, and comment down below what you think of the summer event, because this is going to be the first one of these videos I've made since the summer event has been a thing. Unfortunately, there wasn't that much content in the summer event. We got like the ice cream cones. The firework flare gun was just a cosmetic change on the flare gun. And there also is some summertime map changes over in this lagoon area here. But as far as like the way the game is played, not too drastic of a change. The Lil Whip special serve ice cream is pretty powerful. It'll give you 100 shield and 100 health, and it takes half a second to use. But it's also not the most common item, and it's also like just random. Whereas like the slurp juice, which is the other like preferred healing item in the game right now, you can go to like one of the vault locations or get your combat cache or fight for island, and you're going to be able to get those slurps. Whereas like the Lil Whip special serve, you can get it from floor loot, you can get it from coolers, and it's certainly nice to have. It's very good, but it's not as much in your control as something like the slurps. So I still prefer slurps, but if I do come across the ice creams, I don't mind using those either. Like if I have one slurp or one cone, I'll definitely take the cone, but if it's two slurps or one cone, I'm not really sure how I feel about that. See if this Geralt can eliminate me. I'm kind of concerned about spectating him though, because his landing was not the best. Alright, they are an AI, I think. Where is somebody else? Are you telling me this is the only person that landed brutal? Someone scanned me. Yes, thank you. Alright, we're gonna be on board with Jeffster. That was awkward. But finally, I just landed brutal because like this is usually a pretty hot spot. Gonna be using the firework flare gun. There's not too many people from the mark though. It sounded like there's a decent amount of gliders, but it was a struggle to get me killed. I'm pretty sure that Geralt is an AI. We'll see if Jester's gonna take my crown and what he's gonna do from here. I'm not sure if the spectator shows us the players that he marks. Player to his right. They're down in this bottom part. I think this person is marked. He seems to know exactly where they are. It is an AI you are fighting, sir. Let's go for it. And this is like one of those times where like he definitely could have played this fight more aggressive, and a lot of people would say that's less safe or more risky, which is true to an extent. But brutal is usually a pretty populated landing spot, so taking as much time in a fight is not ideal. You're just more likely to get third-partied. And I guess he did scan the area with a firework gun, but typically off spawn, I want to like win my fights as fast as possible, especially at a POI like this. If you're landing somewhere that's more chill and you know there's not really anybody there, then that's a bit different. But brutal is typically a pretty hot landing spot, so I definitely think you want to try to end your fights as fast as you can. This aura is just chilling up top. I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about this. I kind of want to swap players, but I guess this fight will hopefully take place soon. I'm not really... I don't enjoy this player that we're spectating right now, how they're playing the game. You can actually mantle up this scroll right there. If you were on the bottom and you wanted to get up there, you can mantle that scroll, and then from there you can mantle to the top part. Let's see what he's going to do from there. He just like reset this fight for what reason, I don't know. I'm just going to switch. It's like a weird catch-22 playing this game and making these videos, because like on one hand I like to stick on one player, that way we can kind of build their story, talk about what they're doing, and like when we just swap to somebody else who knows what's going to go on with them. We're going to spectate Bizzle here. I highly doubt this is the real Bizzle, but if you guys don't know, Bizzle is a pro player, qualified for World Cup, I think without using a single weapon. After he had already qualied, he just started doing meme stuff, and yeah, was able to qual just off placement alone. So the fact that this player named themselves Bizzle, they're aware of competitive, so they might be one of the more aggressive players in this lobby. We'll see. That isn't always the case, but you know, if you're following Fortnite to the point where you're like aware of pro players and things like that, you're probably more into the game than the average player. So this might be a good player to spectate. You know, we're on board with this sweaty superhero skin. I'm not a huge fan of Citadel personally, but it can be pretty good this season. There is a vault location across the way here, so if that does spawn, he can kind of go to that. clear it, and there's also a vault location at Shattered. The only thing is there's not much guaranteed mobility here. There's not like pads or anything, which is one of the reasons why I like Brutal. Because if Brutal doesn't spawn, I can pad to here, and then I could pad to that vault if I wanted to from there. Or we can pad from here to... I don't know where it is. It's like over here or something, there is a rift spawner thing. I think it's right here. It's like the terrain, looking at the terrain like this is weird, but there's one of those like jungle vaults where you have to like choose one door to open the vault and another door to open the rift. And those things are nice for rotation, and that's like Brutal has been one of my favorite landing spots in Zero Build for a while, but I feel like even this season, like the rotations out of it are very good because of the guaranteed launch pads, and then you do have like that jungle vault, and then like from there you can rift to like a lot of places, you know, just depending on what you want. I think this player is, I mean, I was gonna say they're waiting on vaults to see what they're gonna do, but the vault spawned. Also, another reason why I like going to that, like this is what I was gonna try to talk about, this pad here or like the jungle rift here, if you're able to get near one of those or any of the jungle rifts, there's one over here as well, there's several on the map, if you're able to get to one of those jungle rifts by the time third zone is spawning, and then as soon as third zone pops you just open the rift, it's really nice because you can then just rift to your combat cache, and the combat cache is a guaranteed gold pump if you get there quickly. I'm just gonna go next player. Alright, this person's dying at Frenzy Farm, but hopefully this superhero skin that we spectate afterwards is a little cracked. Twitch Sanjay. I recognize this name. I think I've fought this player before. Hopefully we get some aggro gameplay. Pop off, Sanjay. No shield, though. That's tough. But I definitely think getting the combat cache is very worthwhile this season. Like, now more so than last season, I go for it. Just getting that high rarity pump is so nice. Especially the pump repeater combo, or if you want to use pump SMG, whatever. I like having a good pump is very important to me this season. Last season it would have been as well, but we had the mythic pumps from the vaults, which I was typically getting. So like I didn't care that much about having a gold one from the combat cache, you know. But if you're someone who finds yourself struggling this season, especially if you're a pump user playing against a drum shotty, I think getting that high rarity pump is really nice. And it also, you know, gives you slurps, which is good. The player that we were previously spectating just eliminated somebody, of course, the moment I spectate them. Or the moment I leave. They start playing the game. We have 40 seconds until combat cache spawns, and like I was saying, it's nice to like get there quick because it degrades in rarity over time. It's very hard to get the gold one this season unless you're by a launch pad or by a rift spawner as it goes off, or unless you just get lucky and it spawns near you. But oftentimes mine spawn like 300 to like 600 meters away, and there's just not enough time to get there. Before it degrades to purple, which purple is nice too, but much rather have the gold one. I'm not sure if this player is going to go for it at all because they seem to be going for the drum shotty. I don't know if they just are using this because it's what they have thus far, or if it's what they prefer. We'll see. I think they do prefer the drum shotty, honestly. Like, based on looking at their loadout, it looks like they're going for a 2-gun loadout with like the drum shotty and the MK, and then shockwaves, flare guns, bunkers. This is a lot of utility and no heals. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but like it can work out. I think the logic is like I'm just gonna get my heals from killing people, which it definitely can work out. But you know, if you're in a situation where you're fighting somebody decent, that's not, or like the fight doesn't start well for you, that's not like an ideal time to have that. And he did shockwave to his cache right away, so we'll see what he's gonna go for here. He might end up changing what he's carrying. I would assume he's gonna take the slurps. He might also take the gold pump. We'll see. But I was just going to be waiting for the combat cache to open. They're a pretty sweaty combo. I think this player's odds of winning the game are pretty decent. Is somebody going for his cache? This should be a free beam, though. Yeah. That's what I was talking about before. Imagine if that player ended up getting away there but had no heals. Like, it's just going to be hard for him to win that fight regardless. So, I would not recommend not carrying heals, and I highly doubt this player is going to continue doing this. They're going to drop the bunkers for it. Interesting. Flare gun is good. It's a hard choice if you're going to carry 2 utility items between shockwaves, the flare gun, and bunkers. I think I would almost rather have the bunkers just because this flare gun only has 2 uses. But if you play fast enough, then the bunkers like aren't that big of a deal. And that's one of the reasons why if I'm going to carry 1 utility item, it's usually shockwaves that I choose. Because I feel like if you're playing fast, like you could just like push people out with the bunkers, or like you can like, if someone bunkers, you can push them. And then also, if you are aggressive, let's say you open a fight with like 60 AR damage or something, like the bunker doesn't really help you push that, whereas like the shockwaves do. So I value shockwaves much more over bunkers, but this player is going to end up using all of their shockwaves here to survive that situation. Kind of an odd fight. That person was just padding onto Frenzy to fight them. Personally, I prefer the pump to the drum, but if you really want to go 2 weapons, then the high fire rate shotgun is just better for that. My high fire rate shotgun of choice, though, would definitely be the exotic Maven. I would much rather use that than the drums. There's 1 shockwave left. He does have soaring sprint, so he can get a lot off that 1 shockwave, but this player has done well so far in this fight. I think you want to pop the slurp. Yeah, okay. The player's in the bush. They just went in there. This is where the explosive repeater would be so good. Explosive repeater, bloodhound. You just shoot it into that bush, and that player is just marked. Kind of choking shots here. I definitely think he could have fried that player, but it's kind of weird to like shoot somebody whose movement makes no sense. Like I probably wouldn't have expected that player to just be walking up to the chest while I'm shooting them either. Oh my gosh, I'm not going for the invisible play. I would not recommend ever using the invisibility gauntlets. Why is he getting away from this? I would have fought that. Because now he has no shockwaves to pursue the fight. Like, even if he fries this person, what is he going to do with that? Unless that player just chooses to die to him, this fight is going to continue. And like I was saying earlier on in the video, like, the longer you're fighting, it's not ideal. You're more likely to get third party. They are somewhat on the edge of zone. Like, he can hold this player, but I don't know. Me personally, if someone's just walking up on me like that with the invisibility gauntlets, I'm fighting them. I don't really think very highly of that item. Like, if somebody's using that, I just assume they're not taking the game very seriously. This is like what I was saying. He should get this kill, I think, but I think he also could have got the kill before. Just playing pretty cautious. He's gonna take the gauntlets. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think very highly of that item at all. Like, I think that is one of the more useless items they've ever had in the game, I'm not gonna lie. But imagine how unfortunate it would have been if there was like somebody coming through this area that third parties him, because he kind of played that fight a little more passive, and that's kind of like the risk reward when it comes to fighting somebody. I tend to be more aggressive. That has its downsides, but also I think playing passive and too safe also has its downsides, but a lot of people just kind of disregard them. He's gonna go for the gold sharp tooth. So he didn't take the gold havoc pump, but he takes the gold sharp tooth. Which I think maybe for how this player plays the game, the sharp tooth might be better. Between the pump and the sharp tooth, the main difference is range. The sharp tooth does have much better range than the havoc pump. And if you do have a more reserved, like controlled playstyle, like this player seems to have, then I could see the sharp tooth favoring that. Oh no. That's so troll. Like, but this fight here, when you're this close, I feel like the pump is just better. He's gonna get in this car and reset this. But again, the more time this fight takes, the more likely it is they get third partied. And they did get third partied, actually. This is a different player. They probably would have got third partied anyways, but if this player has a repeater, he's just dead here. Because you shoot the car, you get damage on the person if you shoot like the right part of the car. Yeah. And that's kind of like what I was talking about. It's like a terrible catch-22, and it's very hindsighty to just be like, yeah, you have to fight people. But I think a lot of players, not specifically that player, like they're a good player. I'm pretty sure I've fought them before. I recognize the name. But I think a lot of players just play overly cautious and like overly safe in every situation because it seems like the right thing to do. But in a way, like playing safe also exposes you to more risk because you're fighting for a longer period of time. And I feel like when I feel like I don't know the name of that skin. The player that we're not spectating, this one over here, I feel like the player we were previously spectating could have just like killed that player if he took the fight. But he's like trying to like get away in the car, and then that like kind of just like stalled it out and did nothing. And then like this player pulls up, and a fight that was already not going great just ends up going terribly because the explosive repeater just like hard counters cards. And wow, I am very surprised. I think that player that we were spectating just kind of threw that fight. Obviously, it was an awkward engagement, but yeah, that was just bizarre. That was very, very bizarre. Imagine this person dies to the dino. Oh, no, are they going to die? Dude, how annoyed would you be if you lose a fight like that and then the person dies to the dino? Just use the MK. You got this. This is going to give me anxiety, bro. But, like I was saying, the explosive repeater just hard counters cars. That's what I was trying to say. Like, if you hit the, like, half of the car that the person is in, they just take damage. So it's like, if they're in the front seat and then you hit the front half of the car, they're going to take damage. And it's just, when you already have somebody so weak like that, it's just like 2 repeater shots to get a kill, and it's not that hard to hit a car with a repeater. Come on, bro. Just use the medkit. You're chilling. I don't think he's going to get that far off this meat. I think he's still going to need to use the medkit anyways. I mean, I guess this is better if he does get pushed in the meantime. His 3 opponents remaining. Zone pulled kind of far, but it's a decent pull for him. I think he should have a very easy time just getting to here. I think anybody that was in this area would have third-partied it already while he was like messing around with the dinosaur. I'm not even sure what that superhero skin could have done differently in the fight. Like, I feel like that was their fight to win, and they just kind of tossed. The repeater is very good for that, though. When this guy was playing the bush, he could have just like shot it with the repeater when he was up top, and that's probably a free kill. But that's just kind of the nature of Fortnite sometimes. We've all lost fights that we shouldn't. So this player's going for pump, repeater, mythic MK. For some reason, he has a white MK as well. I assume that was just because he didn't have other things he'd rather carry. Does he have a key? I feel like if you have a key, getting that and dropping the SMG for it. Okay, cool. I was interested to see if he was going to drop the SMG. Personally, I think pump repeater is just straight better. What is going on? Bro, what are you doing? I think pump repeater is just straight better than the SMG. It's very lethal up close. And then also you have the added utility of being able to flush people out from behind cover, flush people out of bushes, destroy, like hit people when they're in cars. There's a lot of like just nice situations where that explosive damage just comes in clutch. But it is inconvenient to do. And that's what I was saying. I'm interested to see if this player was going to go for the SMG or not, because no way. I think he just died. Oh, he might make it. I think it's... Yeah, he's dead. He doesn't get this off, I don't think. And even if he does, he's dead to storm. Unfortunate. That player just spent way too much time looting after that fight, and then it cost him. If he just, like, wasn't fumbling around with, like, the different types of SMGs and multiple ARs in his inventory, and he just, like, took one and went with it, he'd been better off. I don't think this player wins this fight. He needs... The person left, bro. The person left. They're to the right. Should we just spectate the other person? But this game's over. The person that we were spectating, that gives me anxiety watching people loot like that, and I'm sorry if you're one of them, but yeah, typically when you fight, you want to get out of there. I didn't think he would have a hard time at all getting to zone, but he was like super concerned about making sure he like had the most optimal loot leaving when it was like pretty easy choice. I feel like the choice there just comes down to, do you want SMG or explosive repeater? And it seemed like he wanted the explosive repeater, but he was like messing around with multiple ARs. And then he was like very concerned about shockwaving to zone while also picking up that med kit. And then because of that, he got nothing off his shockwave. Like, I think it's better just to shockwave there and not have the med kit and actually get into zone than to die in zone. And then, unfortunately, he canceled the med kit as well when he was using it in Storm. But, yeah, that was just very much like a bunch of unforced errors from that person. I would imagine they're maybe getting, like, nervous in-game. But I definitely think that just knowing the items that you want to carry makes it easier to loot bodies. Like, I just know, you know, what my ideal situation is. When I see loot, when I eliminate somebody, I really don't have to think about it when I'm looting someone. Like, do they have shockwaves? Do they have heals for me? Do they have a better pump repeater or MK? And then, like, I'm going on my way. But if you have to, like, look at each piece of loot and individually decide if you're taking that, it just makes those situations much harder, and it makes it more likely you're gonna get third party. Because, like, if there was anybody that heard that fighting and kind of showed up to third party that player would have just, like, straight got eliminated. GG's to this pumpkin man. I forget what this skin is called, but yeah, he's just not gonna win that fight, unfortunately. That player just seemed like the much better player. But that is gonna be it for this video. Let's see how many crowns this player has. 82, not bad. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys found this interesting, helpful, informative. A bit of a different one, but I definitely think there were some easily avoidable mistakes in there with the player that we were watching that was trying to play a little bit too passive. Like I said, it can work. It's just a matter of preference and playstyle. But I think that kind of showed the downside to having a more reserved playstyle. And then that other guy just taking too long to loot was interesting. But if you guys did find this helpful, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like some more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of the summer update. Thanks for watching.